All right, everybody, come on in, come on in, come on in. Welcome back to another reaction video with Maggie Lou. We'll call this Let's Talk, this series, Let's Talk with Maggie Lou. We'll actually be making a playlist and putting this up on the podcast shelf as well. For anybody new here, hi, I am Maggie, your substitute teacher. And Lucy and I are the proud founders of the Finishing School for the Modern Woman. We just wrapped up a session with our lovely ladies. We teach etiquette, elegance, and femininity. If you're interested in personal development, maybe you can learn a little something from us. We believe that older women should teach the young. As our way of giving back, we come here twice a week and react to content and give you all our perspective as two older women with a combined 40 years of marriage experience. But Lucy, please introduce yourself and let us know what in the world are we watching today.
Hi, I'm Lucy. Hi, Maggie. It's so beautiful to see our ladies. At this point, we're almost done, and it gets to a point where it clicks. And I think today it clicked for most of them, and I'm just so proud of it. We have two more sessions that I think is going to be the great closing of these 8 weeks. And I think that we are creating a group of beautiful ladies that will take on that learning and teach it and create a beautiful feminine society. So anyway, I have a channel. The topics in my channel are mostly this year have been focused more on femininity, elegance, etiquette, and things that impact women over a certain age. And the reason I'm sharing this video and I want to react, it's because with all the things that are happening in the economy and how we women are considered the gatherers, we tend to be the ones that get into more debt than our counterparts, our men. And this is a perfect illustration on how we can get in a situation where we have kind of no way out of this financial mess. Um, God, I feel for this lady. I'm glad that she shared her story, and I already see Maggie her face. Remember, I'm a blue, and empathy for me is sometimes it's a bad word for me because sometimes I tend to give people more of the benefit than none. So you decide. We'll take a look at it and we'll decide together.
I've already decided, and I don't feel bad for her at all. But the condemned is asking if you connected your
Oh,
channel.
no,
Yeah,
I didn't. Let me
I think,
let me go ahead
yeah,
and
go
enter
ahead.
payment. Thank
Okay.
you, Blue. Thank you, the condemned man. Thank you.
All right, so while Lucy is getting her channel, we multi-stream on multiple platforms. So we're on Maggie the Substitute Teacher on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We're also on USA Global TV, my personal Facebook page. Lucy's connected. So wherever you all are listening, thank you all so much for being here. So Lucy sent me this video. I am going to play the video with you all. It is called Viral Debt Confession. And as always, a couple disclaimers. If you would like to watch it without our commentary, it is linked in the description. You can watch it for yourself. It's about a 17-minute video. This woman is going to tell her story, and then we are going to pause and interject our feedback as older women in marriage, in marriages and long-term relationships. Also, we are women with traditional backgrounds. We believe in husband and wife, man and woman, boy and girl, mom and dad. If you want to do something otherwise, that is completely fine. Just do it over there because you probably won't be happy over here. So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. As always, we like to know what you all have to say in the chat. So please give us your feedback and we will bring you into the conversation. All right. I'm going to mute and share my screen.
I'm broke. Can we talk about it? Welcome back to the Rachel Show. My name is Rachel. If you haven't seen me before, welcome. And I love you. and I can't wait to spend more time with you. This is where you guys come in. I'm going to need you guys to watch this video through. I'm going to need you to like, comment, and subscribe because you guys are going to help boost my channel. And we're going to figure out how to leverage social media to help get my story out there. Because I feel like my story is a story that needs to be shared. Let's get into this. I am broke. I just have to sit with that for a moment because quite honestly, it's very uncomfortable to say that and to say that to so many people. Potentially millions of people on the internet could see this video, billions of people in the world. That is very embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
I know what you're asking yourself. How can someone that's 42 years old with
2 college degrees
in accounting be so financially illiterate?
stupid?
I have to take ownership over that. I can no longer blame my parents for the faults that they have. And I love my parents, and they've done a lot of good and great things for me and my sisters in my life. And I also try to give every person that I meet grace because everybody's going through this life for the first time. There's a lot of things that we're just learning in the moment and we're doing for the first time, and we've never done them before. And we're learning as we go on a lot of things in life. No matter how old you are, there's still going to be new things that you're learning and doing daily, if not weekly, even up into your 70s and 80s, I believe. And I just believe that we're always learning in life. But let's get into all of this. For reference, I am 42 years old this month. I have a college degree from University of Phoenix.
You stupid, dumb animal!
Which plays a big part in this. And I also have, I think my University of Phoenix degree is in accounting. And then I have a bachelor's of science. Major is accounting and a minor in finance as well from Western Carolina University. Go Cats! If you know, you know. I have those 2 degrees. I've been thankful and so grateful that I was able to pay off my car. So I don't have a car note right now, but I do have credit cards. So I'm going to tell you guys how much debt I'm in currently today, April 10th, 2024. I am in the hole for $97,263.43.
All right. Let's get into it, everyone. So we're looking at this 42-year-old woman, and no judgment, but we all do it. Let's judge. I would love to know, as you all watch her and as you listen to her, what age does she sound like to you? Not only her voice, but in her decision-making, in her reasoning, in her rationale, in her accountability or lack thereof. I am 49 next month. Lucy and I are both mature women, and I struggled listening to this woman talk about the situation she's put herself in. So she's $100,000 in debt. Unbelievable to me that women allow themselves to basically have a mortgage with no house. Ladies, you have to understand that you can be financially unattractive to a man if that is something that you want, if you want a traditional relationship. A man is not going to work and sweat and toil and sacrifice for himself to come rescue you from yourself, especially when you've been reckless with your finances. Thank you so much, Messy Michon, coming in with a $19.99. You all please check out Messy Michon. Just know everything goes down over there. Thank you. We appreciate it. So in listening to her talk about her 2 college degrees in accounting, again, to me, unbelievable, but it makes more sense the more we listen. She seems to have these ideas like, that sounds like fun. That sounds like something I want to do, and just goes headfirst into doing it without really thinking through the steps, the consequences, and how much it's going to cost her. So now she's sitting on the floor talking to the internet about the 6-figure debt that she is in. Unfortunately for her, I can't imagine any man coming to take over that, especially with where her mindset is, as you all will hear. What would you add, Lucy?
Thank you, Miss Michonne, for the $20. You gotta go to her channel. I watch her channel all the time because she is so passionate about things, and at the same time, she's hilarious when she shares her rants. So if you want to know about what's happening in current events and get just a taste of rant, happy, angry, everything in between, you gotta go to her channel. Going back to this young, I call her young woman because really, truly, at 42, she sounds like she's a teenager. And what I noticed is that from the beginning, she starts putting in all the justifications before she actually tells us how she got into the $98,000 debt that she's in. And again, for me, that is absolutely scary, and it's a reminder because I think I shared with you guys a long time ago that my husband had just a few deal breakers, and one of the things he said was financial instability and financial reckless was a no-go. And I can tell you that that was a thing because before we got married, I had to pay my student loan before going into our marriage because he did not want to carry that debt. So it's so scary to see all these women getting into so much debt, and how are they going to get out of it if they don't have that backup plan? So anyway, let's get into it.
All right, we're going to get into it. I want to see what you all are saying in the chat. Erin Laura is also having her emotions on her sleeve. I understand. Thank you all so much. We need some of that, but we need a little bit of tough love over here too, and that's what's coming. UFO Kamikaze says broke is having no money with no debt. Having no money and debt is radioactive. Thank you for this distinction. Yes, you all, there is a difference between broke and poor, wealthy, rich, all of that. But I agree with you. Someone is broke, to me, means I don't have money right now. But when you owe, that means when you make money, it's not yours. It's already spent. It's already accounted for. So I agree with you. This woman is not just broke. She's $100,000 in the hole. And ladies, Lucy talked about her student loan. I also have 2 degrees. Funnily enough, I have a bachelor's from a private college, from Spelman College here in Atlanta, and I have a graduate degree from University of Phoenix. I don't talk about my degrees just for the sake of this. I have no student loan debt. I worked when I was in school, lived at home with my parents, and then my graduate degree I did through tuition reimbursement. The company that I worked for, I went to school during the day and went to work during the day and went to school at night. So I'm already looking at her with one eyebrow up for all of the excuses. And then the other thing I didn't like, she said, come on in. You all are going to help me grow my channel. No, we are not. Nobody's going to help you do anything. This is the mindset, ladies, that we have to realize. Nobody is coming to rescue us. All right. You got into this world and decided to make your big decisions by yourself. So you are going to have to sleep in that bed that you made. The other thing that I'll share with you all, Lucy talked about what her husband required. So you all know I'm in the long term. And when my man and I reconnected, one of the things that he made me do was put a budget and a spreadsheet together. And I always put myself on the hot seat. I don't have any student loan debt. I don't really have any debt. If I use my credit cards, I pay them off the same month. But he said, I need to know your number. And I'm like, what number? He said, I need your monthly budget. How much do you cost? That's what he asked me. I was like, who does that? But shut my mouth, downloaded a template online, and I went through and I sat down with all of my expenses, mortgage, utilities, school fees, all of that, and then my income. And I had to present that to him because number one, if I'm asked to do something, I'm going to do it. But number two, ladies, this is not something you're going to be able to sweep underneath the rug. The men that are interested in long term, they are very intentional about how they spend their money, even if they have it. And my man is very well to do. But here's the lesson. When he asked me for this, I could have gotten in my feelings and said, "Who are you? It's my money. I do my own thing." That would not give me the outcome that I want. But funnily enough, when I gave him my number, his response was, "Okay, I can handle that." So that's a lesson, ladies. He gave me a test and gave me an assignment to see if I would follow through or if I was going to get an attitude. And the reason he asked me to do that is to know if he could absorb how much I cost. Basically, what is your, what do they call it? Your value, your net value. If you sold everything and paid off of your debts, your net worth. So you never know, ladies. Men could be attracted to a lot that you have to offer, but if you are coming saddled with debt, it will be easier for them to find somebody else. All right. Who do we have here? We have the condemned says she sounds like a teenager. Yes, I would agree. Jurgen says she sounds like she's 12 years old. Oh my goodness. Jessica says she sounds like a teenager. Absolutely. Let's see what else you all are saying. All right, let's go back in and listen to what else her story says.
And I'm going to break down where all of that comes from. We're going to go through this, and I've been documenting my payment journey, but quite honestly, I haven't been able to pay much on my credit cards, and I feel like I'm drowning, and I'm starting to fall back into that old, like, kind of depression mindset. And it's kind of disheartening because I feel like I've worked so hard to just say, it is what it is. You're doing all that you can, Rachel, and you need to give yourself grace because also you are going through life for the first time and you are learning and growing every single day. I'm just trying to give myself that grace, but I'm starting to feel myself slipping back into almost a depression state where I feel like I'm never going to get out of this hole and I don't know how to get out of this hole. And I'm doing all that I can, but it just doesn't seem to be enough. And it's so disheartening. And I know that I've gotten myself into this hole and I need to figure out how to get out of this hole. But like, how is one person supposed to do all of this on their own?
I don't understand.
Let's do a little debt breakdown. So I have $83,576 in student loans combined from University of Phoenix and from Western Carolina University, which is in Western North Carolina, a very podunk, small little town. So if you haven't heard of it, no worries. I am just beside myself. I'm $83,576 in student loan debts, and I only have 2 bachelor's degrees. And one of them didn't even get me anywhere. So when I became a young stay-at-home mom at the ripe old age of 19, and my frontal lobe was not even fully developed, I had no business having children, I know. But it is what it is, and I can't go back and change the past. And I love my kids to death. The only thing I would change is picking a better partner and waiting longer to have kids till the noggin was fully developed. But during that time, I felt the need to still want to go to college because all of my peers were going to college and graduating and all of these things. And here I was, just stay at home, like living in my pajamas, feeding a baby throughout the night and throughout the day while my husband at the time, who's now my ex, went to work every day. He was in the military. So very thankful that I had a very stable job. And I didn't know where to turn or how to get into college. Although my older sister was in college, no one really told me how to go about doing all of this. And I felt a little overwhelmed by just being a new mom and trying to figure out how to do that good, you know, before I stack something else on top of doing that.
All right. This one is difficult for me, you all. This woman, okay. So again, she's 42 years old, and you all listen to her speaking, and I see some of you all said she sounds like a teenager. I don't know if you all caught it. Did you hear when she said the reason she wanted to go to college is because all of her friends at that time were going to college and graduating? So she didn't say, I had a plan, support with my husband. We had planned that I married young, so I was going to do school first. We were going to put off our family. I wanted to get this degree in such and such field so that I can work in this kind of way in support of my family. There's a demand for this type of job. No plan at all, just because everybody else was doing it, which goes to show her thought process. And this is not something I actually kind of despise what she said about being 19 and my frontal lobe was not developed yet. Ma'am, you are 42 and you still have not developed that frontal lobe. So 20 years later, you're still making excuses and you're still expecting other people to care about the position that you put in yourself. So I just want to dispel this because you all know how I feel about young women in their prime. I think it's absolutely fine if you want to get married young when you have your youth and your leverage. So she married young. Let's say she married at 18, had her first child at 19. Now that is very young, but did you hear her that she was married to a military man who had a very stable job, who provided a life for her to stay at home? Now here's the thing. If you did not want that, you should not have either accepted that proposal, because I'm sure that man said, I'd like to marry and start a family now. You shouldn't have taken what you wanted and then tried to, to wrestle him down to the ground with, all my friends are going to school. That's a time in our lives, ladies, and young women, hear me. There's going to be a time when you graduate high school and you have to decide if you're going to go the college route or if you're going to get married young. You may be able to do both. I did both, but you have to be intentional. And I don't like how she's making all of these excuses. So she goes to school with no plan because everybody else is doing it. And then she's talking about being a young mother, like, all I was doing was around in my pajamas and feeding a baby. I don't think that if she had not gone to college, she would have been any other better success. This is just kind of who she is. She is the type of person that just kind of lets life carry her through. Whatever happens, that's what I'm going to do. Then you get to the destination and you want to look down on how you got here. So I am not buying it at all. And I just wanted to say that even 20 years later, it doesn't look like her decision making is any better. What would you say, Lucy?
Yes, it's fascinating to see how she, first of all, it took her forever to get to the point. Ladies, young ladies, when you're explaining something to a man, they want to know the facts. Get to the point right away. They don't want to hear, I was born in 1929 and I was during a civil war and I was doing this. I went to 500 years, schools. They don't want to hear that. They want to say, okay, what, you have a problem? Tell me the problem, and then they will help you solve it. The fact that she was kidding, it was frustrating to me because, again, my father is an engineer. They are like to the point. I have been raised in that environment where I want to know exactly what is it that you want and don't waste my time. My husband is the same. I know that sometimes I ramble, especially when I don't sleep, or when I'm hangry, or when I'm hormonal, a woman thing. And I can tell that he's to the point where he's going to say, stop right there. What is it that you need? So again, for young ladies, when you're explaining something to men, get to the point right away. They don't want to hear all of these excuses, all of these, stories about why you got to the point. Get to the point so he can help you solve the problem. It was interesting to see when she says also, she said, I only have 2 bachelor degrees. Only, I mean, some people are lucky to get to have an associate. You have 2 bachelor degrees and they're in accounting. How are you at this point? And it's because, as she said, her frontal lobe, it hasn't matured at 42 because she continues to make the same bad decisions that got her in the problem from when she had those babies that, she says that she should have waited later. Even if she would have waited later, she would have made those same decisions. I feel bad for the military man because he probably had a plan. Probably there was he probably had a reason why he asked her to marry her, and for all of a sudden she's, for her to say, yeah, it's not working out for me, that shows the level of maturity or lack of maturity there is at 42.
Absolutely. So I want to see what you all are saying in the chat, but I want to give you ladies some tangible advice on what you can do. So this woman was married young. If you choose to marry young, which I think is wonderful, get out of the dating market. You need to work with your husband on the plan. He should already have a plan before proposing marriage on what he has for his life vision. And if you have requests, that is the time to say, okay, you know what? I'd like to finish my degree, start my degree. I'm thinking about nursing. This is a conversation that you need to have. And ladies, you definitely don't bring everybody else is doing it into your marriage. All right. If this is beneficial for you and your family, then you work that out with your husband. I don't care if everybody around me is, I don't know, make up something, doing girls trips. If I know that's not good for me, then I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to burden my husband, nagging him with, well, all my friends are. All right. So if you're going to go to school and delay the family, have that conversation. Make sure he's in agreement. He may say, you know what, let's go ahead and have the family first. And then you can always go to college, right? You can always go back. She went to University of Phoenix online. So this wasn't even the traditional like college campus experience where you want to be there, with your class. You can do that at any time. If you can't, the only people that can do both, and I wouldn't recommend it, you have to be exceptionally disciplined and exceptionally on your purpose and on your plan. Clearly, we can see she was not. And you can tell the way she's whining here to the internet, she probably was such a nuisance to her husband about, oh, I want to go and I want to do this. And now look at the mess that she's in. He has divorced her and he's probably living a peaceful life somewhere. And she is stuck with the decisions that she fought for. So ladies, you can have it all. You cannot have it all at the same time. And I think if you want to stay in a relationship and be covered and protected, you need to move under the covering of your husband and make sure he is on board. All right, let's see what you all are saying. All right, so the condemned says having a woman explain her financial history and current standing is a part of the vetting process. All right, ladies, the men are telling you, I had to put a worksheet together. Some people are checking credit reports. Look, I'm just letting you know, the man that you want is going to ask. So you better have your explanation ready to go. Hello, everybody coming in. Hello, Surviving. Hello, Cheryl. Glad you're here. Thank you all so much for being here. UFO Kamikaze says you demanded that your ex-wife pay off her clothing credit card before you married her, and she did. And you're not helping her pay for clothes you bought just to date a previous guy, just being honest. Yes, ladies, if you have those store credit cards that they offer you at the register, make sure you have that stuff under control. Or you know what? Maybe you just don't need to have that item. Sometimes saying no is an answer because the masculine man that you want has denied himself a lot to be able to be the man that he is. Surviving says, yes, you are your own rescuer. And you heard her say, we're going to help her grow her channel. Yeah, we're here now talking about it. Lucy says she didn't get to the point soon enough. I wanted to talk about this one. Jurgen says these were useless degrees. And if you heard her, she said, I've always wanted to be in accounting. Ladies, wish upon a star is not a game plan. At this point, you are an adult. You are not a child just writing your Christmas list to Santa. Here's another piece of tangible advice. Do not get a degree that you cannot put to work immediately after you graduate. Do not take more student debt. It'd be great if you didn't take any at all, but do not take any more student debt than that career is going to pay. Meaning, if you are going into social work, and I'm making it up because I don't know the numbers, but if you're going to be a social worker and a social worker's salary is $50,000, do not go into one of these degrees that are $100,000, $200,000 in debt. You will never pay it off. So sit down and do the simple math and see how realistic it is that the degree that you are going for has a demand in those careers, and make sure that you can hit the ground running, because when I graduated, I think I had like $7,000 in debt. I worked, I stayed at home, I paid it off. If I got a bonus from work, I put all of it towards that student loan, and I was done in like 2 years. So there's no reason to carry this debt like a mortgage. All right, let us go back to our lovely lady and see what she's talking about now, and then I'll come back to the chat.
So it took me a few years to even get to the point where I actually was ready to sign up for college, I guess. And during that few years, I ended up having a second child. So I had 2 children basically under the age of 5, because they're about 2 years and 9 months apart. I was very busy and I needed something that would work with my schedule. And so I chose to go to University of Phoenix. It was going to be great. My husband at the time was going to be deployed soon. And so I was going to be basically a single mom. And I was going to have to figure out how I was going to want to go to school during that time. And all of the commercials for University of Phoenix were coming up. And I just felt like I was being called to go there. I don't know if I was actually tuned in to what God was telling me, because I don't think God would have told me to waste my money. And it took me many, many years to figure out that I was wasting my money at University of Phoenix. It wasn't until after I got divorced I figured that out. But I went to the community college level of University of Phoenix, which is Axia College. It's like their junior college. And then I was convinced that the only way I was ever going to get hired is that I needed to go ahead and finish up my program and enroll those credit hours and bring them over to the University of Phoenix, part of the university where I would finish out my bachelor's degree. So I did that, got my associates at Axia. I worked really hard and I got really good grades. I did go to school online and I was a pioneer in that sense because no one was going to school online at those times. And maybe that should have been a red flag for me as well, but frontal lobe wasn't developed. Finished up all of that. And by the time I was finishing up my University of Phoenix online college degree for my bachelor's, that was about the time that I was going through my divorce. I'd finished up shortly before we separated. My divorce was horrendous. It put me through a lot of trauma, and my student loans will not be hit the 20-year mark until 2027. So I have a few more years, and I don't even know if they'll qualify for that year because they were deferred when I went back to school after I got divorced. I had always wanted to be in banking or accounting to some degree. That was why I was getting the degree from University of Phoenix in accounting. I always loved numbers. I've been a numbers girl. I ended up realizing that if I was ever going to better myself and better the life that I was trying to provide for myself and for my kids, and try to pull us out of this hole financially, I was going to have to get another college degree. And so it was about that time. I was about 28 years old. I decided to enroll in Western Carolina, and thankfully they accepted 2 years of my credits from University of Phoenix and Axia combined. And I was only having to go to Western Carolina for 2 years, and I was going to graduate from a regular school with a regular diploma, a bachelor's degree with a major in accounting and a minor in finance.
Oh my gosh, this is painful. Okay, so let's unpack what she said. So she had one useless degree, meaning she had a degree that she was not putting to use. Okay, study whatever you want to, but I think it is foolish to go into debt for anything that you are not going to use. Ladies, that could be you and your purses and your shoes or whatever that are just hanging up there. If you're not going to use it, borrowing money is foolishness. And so she has this degree that she's not putting to use. So her solution is to go get another degree because the first one that she's using, the first one that she has, she is not using. Again, it makes me question her decision making. The other thing, I don't know if you all heard her. Lucy said that she has a degree in accounting and finance. But did you hear again the rationale? And ladies, you have to understand how men consider how you arrive at different decisions. I've always wanted to work in counting. I've always wanted to be a ballerina. But you know what? I don't have the body type or the skill to be a prima ballerina. Ladies, we can want whatever we want, but just because we want it doesn't mean it's the right thing for us. I didn't hear anything about her saying, I interned as an accountant. I shadowed somebody. I took a few courses and did a semester here, or I worked on accounting projects at my job. There were no stair steps in logical thinking that says, okay, you know what? I could see myself doing this every day as a profession. Let me go ahead and finish that degree. So ladies, if you don't know, I would encourage you to be an apprentice, to volunteer your time. I would encourage you to interview people that actually do the job and ask them what a typical day is like. You've got to try to make decisions that make sense, because the problem for this woman, and ladies, when you make these type of irrational decisions, again, my man will tell you, it's not about the moment. It's not about right now. She made these decisions 20 years ago, and she's still in this wish upon a star kind of state, which means this is who she's going to be when she's 52, when she's 62. And what man is going to want to stop what he's built to come rescue her when she has not gotten the ability to say, okay, you know what? What's really practical and what makes sense for me? What would you add, Lucy?
And she continues to go back to the frontal lobe thing. You're 42, lady. Stop going to that nonsense. Again, we don't even know you. And at this point, we're already sick of hearing the frontal lobe thing. We don't hear you saying, I worked at this place where I thought accounting, because I'm a numbers person, I thought it was going to be. I have not heard anything about her saying, I have actually worked somewhere. She also mentioned something about when her husband deployed, she considered herself a single mom. What the disrespect? Look, I get my little hairs, I get the chills. To call the man that's going out for you, maybe losing his life, and for you to already say that you're a single mom because he's working and putting his life on the line for you, and it's an absolutely utter and incredible disrespect. I can't believe that came out of her mouth. But then again, that goes back to, that's the way she thinks. It's all about her, nothing else. She didn't even want the children from the beginning. She said that she wanted to have them. She should have had them later. So again, she's made all of these decisions at the time, and then she takes back and looks back at the chaos that she's created. But it's not about her. It's about everything else that has caused her to come to this conclusion. It's sad. It's sad for the kids, because ultimately the kids are the ones that either see that behavior modeled and they learn how to be that way, or when the kids grow up, they're not going to want to be around a mom like that, because if she's full of that chaos, she's going to bring that chaos to the children's lives.
Yes, this is the type of woman that will be a burden to her children. She's 42 now. Imagine if her children get up and out and have their own successes. Here she comes with her problems. Let's see what you all are going to say in the chat. Kayla says, thank you for all you do. I'm 24, never been married, no children. This info is vital and has been so necessary for me in my journey to becoming the wife and mother I know I can be. Much love. Thank you, sweetheart. Ladies, this is really important. Yes, men like us to look attractive, but that gets you to the front of the line to take the next test. And there are a lot of tests. Men that are marriage minded and relationship minded, being cute is not enough. Believe me, you can be financially unattractive. UFO Kamikaze says, I bought a home, privately owned land, and purchased her an Eddie Bauer Ford Expedition when we got married. Not a bad deal for paying off your credit card debt before marriage. I love that. So ladies, that was another test. UFO Kamikaze said his woman had a store credit card and he said, you need to pay that off. And look at all she got for doing what he asked her to do. Look at all I will get for following the instructions and providing my spreadsheet and the good, the bad, and the ugly. If they ask you a question, it would behoove you to do what they say. Erin Laura says, wow, that's a lot. I'm glad I got all my student loans paid off. Thank goodness. Yeah, she's got 6 figures in debt. It's a mortgage with no house. Charles says, student loans are the worst kind of debt. This should be your priority before paying off everything else. And you all have to understand, these organizations that are so quick to give us money, they don't have our best interests in heart. This is not about us getting the degree. It is a business model for them. They are going to get their money. They're going to get their interest. They know people are going to default on it, and it just keeps rolling on. So you have to make decisions that are better for you and your family. And I bet you her husband told her either no or not yet, but she didn't listen. The Condemned says she is showing poor decision-making skills. Yeah, we hate to see it. Erin Laura wants to know how you have a conversation without, I don't know, but thank you. I'm glad the ladies are cooking. Glad you all like it. Margie says, what happened to the husband's tuition stipend? She could have done tuition reimbursement or got a government job. That's a really good point. You all know I'm a Marine mom to be, and they've told us that, you know, they have the GI Bill that can go to, it doesn't have to just go for yourself. You can actually, I don't know if gift is the right word, so please correct me, but you can give it to a child, a spouse. So I don't know, but the way she is, she probably just rushed through because all of her friends were doing it. Jurgen says, men avoid these women at all costs. And yes, she wanted to go to college because her friends were doing it and she went online. Yes, now you understand why we're not having any grace. And no, I am not holding back because these are the type of women that burn out the good men and then the rest of us get lumped in. So my man has told me until the good ones start speaking up, everybody can get it. So we are here today. All right, let's go back in and see what she has to say.
I'm actually only a couple classes shy of being a double major, but my professor at the time said it wasn't that big of a deal and I didn't need to waste my time staying because he knew I was a single mom at that time, and he knew that I needed to get back into the world and make money and live my life. He said, if you ever wanted to come back or figure that out later, you could, but don't worry about it. A bachelor's in accounting is going to get you something out in this world.
Wow.
And so I took and ran with that. I have applied to get my University of Phoenix loans forgiven, and I applied in July of 2022. And we're in April of 2024, and my application is still pending. I know a lot of people are mad about people applying for forgiveness, but quite honestly, I feel like I was so defrauded. I didn't understand everything about college and loans and Pell Grants, and I didn't understand any of that. And no one at University of Phoenix took the time to really go over that, and the internet was still in its infancy, so it wasn't like I knew to just go on Google or Bing or AOL or whatever it was at the time and look these things up, because no one was telling us that we needed to do that, and no one was really showing me the ropes. So I felt like I really got in over my head, and I'm hoping that my student loans are going to be forgiven. I will probably have the student loans from Western Carolina left, and I'm happy to pay those back. I would love that I can get my balance down to just my university or just my Western Carolina loans, but I don't know if that's going to happen. And then over the years, I've just been really, honestly, a broke single mom. And I've used my credit cards to help me buy groceries, put gas in my car, buy myself and the kids clothes from time to time. yeah, I'm not going to lie. We spent the credit cards on frivolous things like going out to eat and things that brought me and my kids joy because I just didn't have the money.
If you broke, just say that. I am.
Now I have $13,412.39 in credit card debt that's been accumulating over the years. I've paid it down, but I've never been able to pay it off. It's been this dark cloud looming over my life for the last several years. But I have a Truist that has about 7,000 ish dollars on it, and then I have a Discover card that has about 6,000 ish dollars on it, give or take. Yes, I've spent my credit cards on frivolous things.
I'm not gonna lie.
I've spent it on things that brought me and my kids joy, and I spent it on things that I felt like I needed to spend it on in the moment to be able to have fun with my kids when they were with me. Living as a single mom, it's very hard. And I've basically been a broke single mom.
Living in the trenches of life.
For the last 10 years. Yes.
All right. So as she continues to play her violin, I hope you all are noticing a trend here. Do you see how she goes from being like Jurgen says, the professional victim and having this pity party about being so broke, being broke. But then in the same sentence, the pendulum swings and she says, yes, I have spent my credit cards frivolously on things that were fun, that brought me joy. Ladies, I'm going to tell you right now, if you have that type of attitude when it comes to money, you are already lost. You will be alone, because one of the things that you have to understand about masculine men is that they have to deny themselves. It costs them a lot to become the men that they are. They had to delay that gratification a long time. So if you have impulses, if you see something and you've got to have it, if it's Christmas and you've got to decorate and everybody's got to have a gift and you just need to go out to eat and have fun because you want it, that says a lot about, again, your decision making. And like I said, remember, she was complaining about her 18, 19-year-old young mother self, but look at her 42 years old and still prioritizing fun over being responsible. Ladies, I'm sorry. If you owe money, you can't just spend like you don't. If you've overeaten, you can't just eat like you haven't. If you have burned bridges, you can't just act like everything's okay. We can't just move through life like it's la la land and just expect everybody to feel sorry for us, because the men that we want, nobody's coming to rescue them. So I do not feel sorry for her. And I'm glad you all are picking up on that too. What would you add, Lucy?
And we're almost done with the video and we still don't know what she does as far as like working. For me in my head, I'm going, how is she paying that amount? Are you taking extra hours at the job that you're in? Are you doing Uber drive, Uber eating, Uber, finding other sources of income? I still haven't seen her talking about additional sources of income to pay it off. All she's talked about is how the world has been bad for her and how she's as a single mother, everything has been to maintain joy and happiness and immediate, gratification. But she still doesn't have a plan on how is she going to pay that money. And it's actually giving me anxiety, because I don't understand how somebody can move through life like that without thinking that there's going to be consequences to your bad decisions, to your bad financial decisions. So that's it. And even the editing is childish. All those noises, all those happy faces, all that voice over, it's I think that that's the way her brain works, and we can see it. And I think that that's how men see when we start doing our crazy little things. They're saying, do I want to deal with that? Thank God my husband wanted to deal with me, because I can tell you that even I wouldn't take my little crazy things sometimes.
Absolutely. We all have that side. But ladies, even if we have a silly side or a little bit of a goofy side or whatever, you have to overperform in the areas that are important to the men that you want. What really slightly makes me sad, but more angry for her, She was married to a military man, and she said in the very beginning, who had a stable career. He had a stable home life, was able to sit her down at 19 so she could be at home, start a family, because obviously he saw in her she was not ready for prime time. And take it as a divorcee. Ladies, if you are going to destroy your home, you better get ready to join the workforce and carry that burden until you're 65. A lot of women are short-sighted, and I'm sure this man is living somewhere peaceful, not dealing with her. But she had the opportunity of somebody to provide that structure that clearly at 42, she still doesn't have for herself. And my man has said before, and I tell ladies that I talk to, it may be hard to hear, but the more chaotic your background is, your thought processes are, your home life is, the more you need a man that is structured and unapologetic. And I think somebody with her out of control, she was very well to be underneath the structure and the covering of a military man. But even he had to say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And she's the worst for it. And I don't know any man that is going to absorb that and listen to that nagging voice and complaining and whining. And she keeps saying, I was a broke single mom. I was a broke single mom. Like we said, nobody cares. You did it to yourself. So let's see what we can learn from it. What are you all saying in the chat? Erin Laura says, you were confused at 19. You thought she wanted an experience, but still not a good excuse to it. I already saw it. Okay, one moment. You all know who this is. So we will be right back after we honor our biggest sponsor.
H.E.N.R.Y has spoken.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, H.E.N.R.Y, for all of that you do, watching from the clouds and supporting us, and for the $100 support. We are so grateful. He says, I, me, meh. I will ask to see your credit report in 2 seconds, Miss Felicia. It will tell me all I need to know. I will not allow you to destroy my extended family's legacy. This is such a great point, and thank you, as always, Thane, for your wisdom. But ladies, this is how you have to see how men look at it. Remember how Lucy always talks about we need to be an asset to our men and not a risk. Look at this woman with $100,000 in debt. Even if she didn't have $100,000 of debt, which she does, the way she thinks about money, the way she thinks about fun, the way she prioritizes what she wants and what she needs to have right now, does that benefit her and her alone, or a man who has worked hard and sacrificed in creating a legacy that will outlive him? She is an immediate threat to that. So thank you, Thane, for reminding us that men do not tolerate this type of risk. It costs them too much. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, and the bottom line is what got me was when she said that she was a military man's wife. That is, for whatever reason, for me, it's something in all of these things where that I see that men are working so hard for us. The military men, they are going to places where their lives are going to be at stake. And for her to just dismiss it like that, it told me everything about her. And again, I think I saw Cheryl, I think she said, nobody's perfect and we all make financial mistakes. The issue is that she does not have a plan on how she's going to meet those or meet those financial responsibilities. She's expecting her loans to be paid off by whoever the president is. And I can tell you, if Trump wins, I can tell you that those are not going to be paid. I can tell you that. Anyway, so this is going to be so sad for her.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you all, this whole student loan thing, I stay out of it and I stay out of politics, but I will say this, even if her student loans are wiped off, the way she handles money, resources, the way she looks at life in general, she is one of these people that would win the lottery and lose it all immediately. All right, let's finish this up so you all can hear what else she has to say, and then we will wrap up.
I've had good jobs and I've had my own apartments and stuff like that, but financially I've been broke. And it's like this dark cloud looming over my life for the last 10 years, and I cannot seem to get out of it. I've paid my credit cards down at times, but there's always been emergencies. I've never been able to have an emergency fund. And so I've had to put emergencies on my credit cards. Also, I've used my credit cards to buy stuff like gas and food, like groceries for the week. I completely remember going to the grocery store several times when I lived in Greensboro, working for Truist at the time, paying for groceries with my credit card. And I remember thinking, like, am I ever going to get out of this cycle? Just seems to be never ending. So I've been documenting my payoff journey on this channel, but quite honestly, it's been very lackluster because I haven't been able to pay much on my credit cards with Christmas and birthdays for my kids, and I have gum disease, I think. So I'm going to Mexico because they're going to treat it for a much less than they can here in the United States. So I haven't been able to put my full force effort in 2024 to paying off my credit cards. I have been paying more. I've been making payments every time I get paid every 2 weeks. And I haven't made much of a dent. In fact, my balance for my Discover card in January was $6,583.06. And I've been making payments of like $130 every 2 weeks for the last 4 months almost. And my balance is only down to $6,308.02. That is only a difference of $275 in balance. My interest on my Discover card is killing me. Right now, my interest on my Discover card is 23.24%. Have negotiated to try to get a buy down or get that reduced. They said no. They said I could do a balance transfer, but there's a 3% fee, and by the time I do that, I just feel like I'm adding on to my debts, and it's just a little overwhelming at the moment. I don't know if that's the best option for me. I'm still thinking about doing that. And then my interest rate for my other card is 10% on my Truist. That I feel like I've been paying down, and it's slowly going down because I've been putting most of my effort towards my Discover card since the interest is so high. But I just don't know where to go from here. Not above getting a second job, but I do have a dog now, and it's like by the time I do 8 hours at the office and I do work in office, and then I come home and I want to spend time with her because she's almost 7. And I want to give her a beautiful life at the end of her life, her golden years of life. And it's just so disheartening and so hard. And I just don't know where to go from here. And I don't really know how to end this video. Kind of awkward, but I really appreciate you guys. I know so many of you guys are watching my videos and interacting with them. And I love that so much. I love doing YouTube. It is such a great creative outlet for me. Social media in general, it's such a great creative outlet for me. I can't wait to go on this journey with you guys. And I'm hoping that at some point this will pay off financially and I'll be able to get myself out of debt. And at the end of this year, we are going to have a freaking celebration for all the debt that I will have been paid off. Fingers crossed. Love y'all. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
All right. She lost me at the dog. Y'all already know how I feel, but again, we will sum this up. And let me just say, Sinji, thank you for the 1914. I'm going to read your comment in a minute. But she went through this whole soliloquy to let us know even 20 years later, 20 plus, because she was married and had her first child at 19. She's 42. And right now, of all the things that she needs to be doing, not getting a second job, is growing her YouTube channel, which she said, hopefully one day this will pay off. So it's not either monetized or making money. We all know it's a hobby. You can make it a career if you want to. But she said, now I have a dog and I want to prepare for the dog's golden years. Y'all, if I'm lying, I'm frying. You heard it with your own ears. She cares more about making her dog's life comfortable than making sure her own children don't have a mother that is a burden to them. I will say this as a mother, after getting divorced and having to figure out everything and get, land on my feet, the number one thing I wanted to do was make sure that I leave a legacy for the children, in addition to whatever else they're going to get. And I'm not going to be one of those mothers that they have to stop what they're doing to come take care of me. That is not what our children deserve. Sinji says, I'm just coming in, but Stevie Wonder could see this madness coming. Sansa Stark with the gray hair. Winter is coming by a Costco parka, ma'am. 1914 for the almighty Phi Beta Sigma. All right, Lucy, what would you say to close us out?
Can I just tell you, I feel bad for that poor dog. When I heard about the dog, I'm here going, oh, my sweet goodness. That dog is going to be listening to that non-mature frontal lobe for the rest of his life. Hopefully, I don't know what kind of size dog it is. It's 7 years, so it's probably close to its, golden years, crossing the rainbow bridge. But that poor dog, what kind of quality of life is she giving herself, her kids, the dogs? She's not able to get another source of income. She's paying $230 for 6,000 and 7,000. She's never gonna pay that. She needs to be paying like 2,000 each month to get it over with on that financial. What is she doing with her money? It is anxiety causing because how do people live how she does? I feel bad for the dog. I feel bad for the kids. And for anybody that falls for that victim story that she's telling us, because she has created that for those immediate gratification things that she wants right here, right now, without thinking about the future consequences. It's so sad, actually.
Well, Lucy, I have to say, you picked the video. Sorry.
I did, but you know what? I gotta tell you, I think I watched the beginning. When it got to the dog, I didn't hear the dog part. This was surprising to me. I'm telling you, that poor dog, that terrible situation. I just feel bad. Sorry for sending you that video. It's an eye-opener. I can tell you, it's a reminder for all of us to be mindful of how we spend our money, because the economy, finances are not getting any easier. And for women to stop making those immediate reward reactions, because again, there's a cost for it. Have the money to pay for it right away, not put it on something that you think is going to be forgiven later on.
Absolutely. So I think we could, and Cheryl says, nobody's perfect. We all make financial mistakes. However, the fact that she never mentioned creating a plan to get out of debt is problematic. And that is the key right here. Ladies, we can all learn from this. We've all overspent, okay, myself included. Sometimes you want things, you want that upgrade, but like Kevin Samuel said, life is choices and trade-offs. Pardon me. We can't have everything we wanted. We can't have everything we want just because we want it all at the same time. So you're going to have to prioritize, work with your man, show him that you can deny yourself some things, show him that you can appreciate delayed gratification. Believe me, the men that we want, if they see you working really hard with the little that you have, they will surprise you and be a blessing in different things. But if you're just kind of like spending it willy-nilly and there's no plan for the future, and then adding on more trips and trinkets and dogs and whatever, like Laura said, yeah, she lost me long before the dog, but this is who she is. I think the men are very wise to beware of, again, it is the $100,000 in debt, but if a man came in and wiped all of that away for her, which some men can do, she would rack up the debt immediately again. So this, to me, the teachable moment is really about her mindset and her decision making. So with that being said, y'all are going in the chat. I know Sinji says she could start a kennel business, Bad News Kennels, and y'all are just going in on her. But we are here for you all twice a week. We love to give you all our take as two older women. Again, we do have a couple courses coming up if you all are interested, or gentlemen, if you need to send your lady to wife lessons, we have a class coming up starting November 2nd. You can use the link in the description, teachablemomentswithmaggie.com, $50 off, and we will teach her about marriage, about husbands, wives, and what men need from us. So we want to thank our sponsors. Thank you so much, Nessie Michon, for coming through with the 1999. Thank you so much, Sinji, for coming through with the 1914, and then again with the $5. Woof woof. We know she needs to start some kind of part-time job. But to our biggest lifetime sponsor, Thane Mithra, I'm going to play your outro one more time, and then we will see you all on the next one.
Thane Mithra has spoken.
All right, everybody. Lucy, anything to close us out?
I think we're good. This one, yeah, put me out with the dog. Yeah. Thank you all for participating in the chat. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for contributing your generous contributions. And till next time.
Absolutely. We're here for you all on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So we will see you all on the next one. Until then, adios.